Now the molding is very useful for the engineering, for mechanical engineering or any object we making the procure by the molding procedure. Now there are the some technical words I like pouring basin. This is the runner. This part is the core, which is used for the making a hole. As like for making a cylindrical job, then we apply middle portion of the cylindrical job, cylindrical pattern. First making a pattern and place in between the cylindrical core, and then we flow the liquid metal through the ladle. Ladle is like a pot where the liquid material is inserted and pouring the metal through which the ladle is pouring on the pouring basin. Now the next portion is the cope and drag. Cope, drag and cheek. Another name is the cheek. There are three types of the flask. Flask is like such that the rectangular shape and which having a thickness, but the inside of the thickness is the height, and the thickness of the material is about 5 to 10 millimeter as our requirement. If we are using the continuous work for making a mold and making a such type of the, suppose a round shape of the spherical ball, or making a like a pen, there are the many times we can use, then we use the flask in the metal type. If we use the material in only one type, then we use wooden. For why use the wooden? Because the metal is the high rate and the wooden is easily available and its price is low. Now, in the cheek, there are two parts. First, upper portion of the mold, which is known as the cope. This is the upper molding flask, and another name is flask is the upper molding. Then the main name is the cope, and sometimes we say that upper molding flask, and the bottom portion is name is drag, and sometimes say that the lower molding flask. Upper molding flask, lower molding flask. If making a mold or making an object is the large volume, then this is the small height. It will not making the proper dimension of the mold. Then we place the in between upper portion or lower portion plus in between a cheek, another flask is placed. This name is the cheek. मीनिंग ऐसा है कि ऊपर वाला पोर्शन और नीचे वाले पोर्शन में एक मिडिल में एक फ्लास्क को लगाते हैं और उसको हम लोग क्लैंपिंग डिवाइस के माध्यम से पूरा सेंटर में रखते हैं. अगर हम लोग उसको सेंटर में नहीं रखेंगे, सपोज हम बना रहे हैं एक शाफ्ट बना रहे हैं, ठीक है, पॉइंटिंग हियर शाफ्ट बना रहे हैं, देन इफ the center is not properly here, then what happened? Center is some distorted, then our material is some distorted as this type. Then the shaft is making a very bad quality. Therefore, must align the center of the locking provisions. Therefore, the cope and drag is placed perfectly on the job. Now go to the next portion is the flask. Flask is used for the molding side is piping by the into the flask molding side by the, if a small amount of this, then first a wooden bottom board is placed, and where the place in the flask is like a bottom flask and top flask, then the bottom flask is drag is placed. Therefore, we put the silica, clay and moisture content, which is the molding sand, which is making a proportionate mixture of the clay. Now it will placed in the box is like a flask, which is the drag, and flask is hammering by hand or by some wooden hammer. It will placed and making a properly finished, and it will fully tightened, and when the hammering of the proper place of the and filling of the overall area of the flask, which is the drag, this working is known as the ramming. Now the ramming work is done, and this portion is proportionate portion is done on the upper portion also, as like our making our runner and screw and the riser of screw. All portions we can make individually, cope and drag portion. Okay. Now the puring basin is poured the metal continuously, and from the screw the liquid metal is passing through the gate. Here some gate where the how much amount of the flow is required. If suppose is making the hole is big, then the suddenly high amount of the flow, and if the metal is very high temperature, then this silica sand is some burned quickly. Are you understood or not? If silica sand is burned quickly, then what happened when the replica, this is the cavity of the side is some baked type, and after the molding part, this will be the proper design and shape. It will not occur. It will some cavity, some porosity. It will there when the molding of when the material is removing from the mold cavity. Then when it will surface finish, then by the hammering or by the cutting, by the filing, or another process is the if very few type of the damage, then it will erase by the MD paper, and making the object is the very nice, very good quality. Then go to these holes. This holes is known as the vent, which is why vent is used when the high temperature material is coming through the sprue, by the sprue and going to the runner. This runner is known as for the running material which goes, and the riser is up to the point where the riser rising the material. Then there are two parts. How in which this type of the made, first the tightening the material, and a conical portion of the shaft, a wooden stick, it will hammer. If it will hammer, then here this type of the shape will occur, and after that it will remove it. Then a hollow conical shape is there placed. Okay, and a gate is cutting by some knife, sharp knife. The gate is cutting. I like here the point, the gate where the metal is first entering this point, and after that filling the portion of the cavity. Now here the pattern replica. What is the replica? A replica is made by the same process, but the replica is used for the making the mold cavity. For suppose you are making a pen, then the first pen is placed. Outside portion the pen is placed, then its shape is quickly making for the helping of the cavity. Then this name is the replica, which is the same object, true copy. Now here some line is there. When the material is passing through this, and this is the cross sectional area. Here half portion is cutting. So we see that this cutting portion what center at the center line, then in which shape of the screw on the both side. Either we can choose riser or runner alternatively. Don't bothering. From as our requirement, as our facility, we can either runner or riser we may change. And for the gas removing of evacuating of the unwanted gases, the 1/3 of this, suppose this portion is 30 millimeter, then 10 millimeter is the evacuating by small wire on all over area of this, through which the unwanted gases is evacuated and the material is properly solid. And when the puring the material is completely, then it will go slow cooling, and after it will cooling, and after cooling it will solidify very nicely. When the metal is purely solidified, here some work, the riser is in which work. Why riser is used? Riser is used for if the puring metal is given and the puring metal is stopped. When solidification process is occurring, then the squeezing of the material, liquid is going to solid, then its volume is less. Therefore requirement of the volume of the material which is coming from the riser side, then it will fill the proper material of the object due to solidification process. Now vent, puring basin, and all the material we say that. Now for this figure, which is the cross section of the sand mold ready for puring, by which this process we can pure the metal for the molding. Next part is the molding sand. Molding sand is the preparing of the mold cavity by the mixture of the silica, which is SiO2. Silica is a bali, silica sand, and clay is the mixture of the some earth and earth unwanted like a mitti type, and a mixture of some making of the powderous type, powder or other components, and moisture is like a water. How much amount of the water is mixing through is the freshly clay is ready. Therefore baking sand. What is baking sand? Why baking sand is used? Suppose a mold cavity is making, therefore first baking sand is there in the cavity's nearest portion, where this baking sand is very useful for the high temperature metal. This is the burning of the sand, already burnt sand. Therefore it will hard. Then it will resist the temperature at high temperature. This is the normal sand is no resist. Therefore it can some burn, some cavity form, some porosity, bubbles are there. But the burning sand is not proportionate. If burning sand is purely making the wall, then it will no burn the outside of the fresh prepared effective material. But it is used high temperature materials molding. Core is a solid portion of the mold I like making a sand and it will bake earlier. It is mainly used for the, suppose a hollow cylinder pipe is making, or hollow cylinder about the half inch, I like a pipe is made. Therefore, the cavity is inside. At the center of the cavity, we will place the core, and when the solidification occurs, then it will break the cavity, or either way remove the cope and drag portion separately. Therefore, what happened? The and after that, the if the breaking of the core, I like we our usefulness. What we can do? If properly remove the core, then doesn't matter. If not removed properly, then it will break. Therefore, we get the cylindrical object. Ekdam very easily. Now the puring basin, it is a funnel type through which the ladle is pouring to the metal, and it will goes to the funnel type shaped cavity, which is top of the cope portion, which is the top portion, and the sprue type is the V shaped of the sprue. This is the passage through which the molten metal is coming, and after that the parting line, in which our earlier figure, I like suppose this is the cope and this is the parting line PT, and this is the drag. Then parting line, below the parting line, this area, this name is the runner, through which this passage, through which the molten metal is flowed and going into the going into the mold cavity, through which the molten metal make the solidification. And how much metal is flowed through which the metal, then we cut the gate. Then the suppose the in half an hour passing through half liter, then the gate volume is very small, I like 4 millimeter, 5 millimeter, I like diameter. If the more, then the large diameter. Then the actual entry point through which the molten metal passes, and flowability of flow of the material in the meter cube per second or kg per second enters the mold cavity for making the object. And next, the chaplet. Chaplet is the I like a core type material. Chaplet, it will placed. Suppose height of the cavity is here. Then from the bottom portion, this is the board type. Here the chaplet is folded. Chaplet is perpendicular, vertically stand. Where is placed the core, or the overall load can sustain the chaplet of the core, as well as the metallic forces of the, which is the flow of the force. Then the chaplet can work two proportionate. First is the take the load of the core, and another the how much material it will flow and how much material it will sustain the metal. Otherwise the chaplet is also broken. Then our work is doesn't good, and our all investment are destroyed, and the company goes to losses. Now the chill. Chill is the metallic part where the place in the mold cavity, which is the, if the metallic part is placed there, then it will receive the heat from the mold cavity, and the cooling rate, it will increase the cooling rate, and it will maintain the cooling, uniform cooling, or as desired cooling. Therefore, if the uniform cooling, then the solidification will occur very good. Otherwise, below portion is solid more, upper portion is solid less. Therefore, some distortions will occur. Riser is the, suppose here the screw and another screw here. The metal is filled and goes here. this portion, this sprued shape is known as the riser. Riser is used when the solidification occurs, some squeezing of the material during the cooling process, uniform cooling or sudden cooling, any cooling. Then the material can require for the material for the metallic portion which is the solidify and during the solidify. Therefore, this reservoir which is coming back, due to the gravitational force only, this is the top portion, it will settle very slowly, it will goes down. Therefore, our reduction of the metal, it will solve the passage and fill up the passage with the reduction of the metal by the riser, and it will full material solidification and full volume of the material can make. After the solidification, either the cope and drag will remove it separately, or destroy the mold cavity and take it very easily our solidified metal.